Mike Wells, ESPN Indianapolis Colts reporter, says that the Colts are tentatively scheduled for a training camp on July 28th. Good news that I assume every other NFL team is cooking up the same type of thing. Now we have a schedule. Now we have a deadline. Now we have a roadmap. Will this get changed? Potentially, but at least we're on the path of getting things done. Also, in the NFL, nope, that was it. Nope, yeah. NFL has sent a memo to all teams on protocols for players returning to facilities. Among them, teams have to reconfigure their locker rooms to allow 6 foot of space between each locker. All equipment must be disinfected after each workout, and every room must have a hand sanitizing station. Good news for most of these places, hand sanitizing things are all around most football facilities because you don't want anybody getting sick. The NFL was the first place where I showed up where if there was ever a sign of somebody being sick, they tell them to get the hell out. We do not need it. So I think the sanitizing of the hands and of that nature is something that does happen, especially, well, at least in the Indianapolis Colts facility it did. A lot of hand sanitizing, little machines everywhere, a lot of that stuff and cleaning. I think the reconfigure the locker rooms to allow 6 feet of space between each locker. They'll just pull players out of lockers. Now, if you're a younger player, you're probably going to be in a locker room somewhere else. It'll be separated, probably the rookies and the rest of the team. They'll probably have 2 different locker rooms. But the fact that they're still doing the 6 foot social distancing thing, that tells me a lot about where the government stands on what we should still be doing, even though it's not happening anywhere else. At least they're getting back into getting people in the building, back to work, and hopefully getting us football on time with a July 28th potential training camp. What was that, Zito?
No, I was going to ask how, like, for being in the Colts locker room, would that be possible, having 6 feet between you guys?
Yeah, you would just have to, because lockers are built into the walls now at this point.
Yeah.
When I was first at the Colts, by the way, we had a throwback, you know?
Ooh.
We had a throwback. When I first got to West Virginia, it was a throwback locker room, you know? Then we win 3-4 bowl games straight and bring in a few $100 million, and they get state-of-the-art facilities immediately after us leaving. It was very nice. You know, they got to experience that. I'm very happy for everybody. When I got to the Colts, it was throwback locker room. Small equipment room or small athletic training room, small equipment room, but this is how things have been for a long time. There was actually a massive disagreement between players, I won't say their names, and ownership whenever the ownership, Mr. Irsay, built a par 3 Pete Dye golf course outside of the facility, which is one of the nicest par 3s I've ever seen. There's an island hole. It is a beautiful par 3 around the facility, but the numbers were thrown out there on how much money was spent on the golf course. And there was a lot of players who had been in a trash locker room for a long time that are hearing stories about how college locker rooms are set up or maybe other NFL locker rooms are set up. And they all said, well, wait a minute, we're spending how much on a par 3 golf course that's never going to get used while we're still sitting in these trash locker rooms? The next day after that conversation was happening, there was a memo in our locker explaining to us how important the par 3 golf course was to the city of Indianapolis and all this stuff and how it's going to get used and all this stuff. But then immediately after that, the Colts upgraded the entire building. So, there is a lot of conversation about the updated and upgraded locker room that the Colts currently have. And I was lucky to be there for the day that was whenever that golf course was announced and the backlash in the locker room. The players that were not happy, by the way, or not people I think that anybody wanted to see mad at anything. You know what I mean? It was not good. But now, obviously, brand new locker rooms, everything like that. As those guys were leaving, by the way, they very much didn't get a chance to experience it. But you're just going to have to keep people separated via some lockers and send the guys that are younger into another room. I would assume that is the case.
What's this going to do? They're all going to be on the practice field together. When they huddle at the end of practice, do they also have to be 6 feet apart, or what are we talking about?
Well, and then you also think about if there's hitting drills or anything of that nature. And how about the showers? Is it only one shower stall allowed per thing? Then how are you going to get 100 and some guys in there? I feel like these are good protocols, but this is exactly like how the local businesses weren't allowed to be open, but the grocery store right next door that handles all the food that goes in people's mouths was wide open with people going in and out. Seems like whenever people are trying to help things out, there's always that hypocritical side where it's like, well, if that, then why not this? And they're like, well, let's just go ahead and not talk about that. It's very interesting. But I feel like we're potentially at the point where, it's over.
Hey, either way, football is football.
Oh, yeah.
Just get it back.
Hey, maybe this will be how they changed the head-to-head contact.
There you go.
You hit each other in the head, you get coronavirus. So, okay, tackle each other.
Be smart.
Be smart. Hit the strike zone, because if you're going face-to-face, coronavirus goes right back and forth.
Yeah.
What's that, Nick?
The memo also doesn't mention anything about if a player actually tests positive, what they have to do or what the facilities have to do to get them back.
This was Adam Silver mentioned this whenever they were talking about how they do the Biodome Hotel California setup. Adam Silver in the first call, whenever the conversation was, do we do it in Orlando or do we do it in Las Vegas or whatever? Adam Silver said, hey, I don't have this answer, but if whatever we do, we have to be able to go forward even if somebody tests positive for coronavirus. There's been players for basically every team that has gone back to work voluntarily testing positive for coronavirus. I don't know how they're handling it. I don't know if as soon as you test positive, you're kind of secluded away from everybody, or if it's at the point where people just sign up and say, I understand I could potentially get coronavirus. That is something they're going to have to handle. They're going to have to figure out and understand. Are they going to be wearing masks? I saw Tomlin walking around the Steelers facility wearing a mask. Will guys be able to wear masks in a huddle and things of that nature? The answer is no. You won't be able to do that. So I don't know how that works.
So Tom Pelissero tweeted out that masks required except when interfering with athletic activities.
So no.
So the only time, if they're on the field, do you not require a mask.
Yeah, but when you're on the field, you're breathing on each other.
Yeah.
So if you just got to hope that there isn't you don't have your current. Is it like herpes? Like you only get it sometimes? Like you only have. So when I am showing my coronavirus, I cannot be around you. But if somebody has coronavirus in the facility, 6 feet away from the locker room, and with a mask on, whenever they take the mask off to practice, do they no longer have the coronavirus? Is that how that works? Because from my understanding, this coronavirus just, it just kind of walks right into other people's mouths if you're anywhere around it. I don't know. All these rules kind of contradict each other at this point.
So the only time you would need that would be walking in and out of the facility, and then in the locker room, and then everywhere else it's just fair game.
If you're getting tested on the way in and the way out, if you get tested on the way in, why do you have to have a mask on in? Like I saw Tomlin walking around the facility with a mask on, but he got tested on the way in. If everybody got tested on the way in, why do you have to have a mask?
That's insane.
It's the Rona.
Two-step verification.
You got a text? They got to text you? What's up, Nick?
Darren Rovell just put a tweet out about the helmet manufacturer. Is it Shoot?
Shot.
They're offering a full face shield with the visor on top of the face guard and then intertwined into it below as well.
Yeah, of course they. You know how expensive those are going to be?
$15 a pop.
No way.
That's what Rovell says.
No way. Hey, Ravel's on it, though. Hey, that dude is on the business side of sports.